Respected colleagues, Henry Seriake Dixon, Bayelsa West. Mr. President, firstly, let me appreciate, on behalf of all of us senators from the South-South part of our country, for the lead sponsor, our colleague, Senator Ekpeyong, who has led the debate on a bill that is co-sponsored and fully supported by all the senators from the South-South zone. And it goes without saying that that includes the Senate President of the Federal Republic. My dear colleagues, I think that a very compelling case has been made this morning. I am only rising up to explain further two issues. Firstly, that the NDDC that some people may say is already there is not a geopolitical commission created. It was created to manage the issues of development and crisis emanating from oil-producing communities. And that is why the membership and those who benefit from it cut across the Southwest, for example, Ondo in the Southwest, and in the Southeast. And also, anytime oil is found in any substantial quantity, a case can be made for inclusion. The point I'm making is that it is a resource-based commission, because the UMPADEC was scrapped and the NDDC was now put in place to manage the issues arising from oil-producing communities and states. And it was not a geopolitical body created for the South-South, no. That's why the membership clearly includes Ondo in the Southwest, and rightly so. It includes Imo and Abia in the Southeast. But now, having established that, as the lead debater has said, you also have the example of HYPADEC in the North Central. States that are contributing resources, the water bodies that are converted to energy, are a major source of resource. And this country thought it appropriate to establish a body. But that body was resource-based. It doesn't include states that don't have those water bodies and all those entities. So now the country has moved further, where at this point now, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, we are now creating not resource-based centers of development and entities, but development-based entities according to geopolitical zones. And that is why the case is now being made for the consideration of this August Assembly. And I will now, on behalf of all the senators, appeal to all members that we should give this a favorable consideration. As has been rightly said, what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. So that at any time the country is appropriating to development commissions, geopolitical-based development commissions, then it will be general. I'm sure if there's any geopolitical zone that doesn't have a bill yet for establishment of a geopolitically based commission, when it comes, I believe all of us will be ready to support it on the basis of equity and parity. So it's on this note, I invite all of us to give this bill a favorable hearing. I so move.
But distinguish
Anything from NDDC when the Supreme Court gave the judgment as to ownership of certain oil wells, or they will be getting very little. So there's a lot of disparity, which will be addressed if we have this geopolitically based development commission.
I agree with you. So we look at it now. We delete those things immediately. If they are getting anything, Senator Kawu, Senator Kawu, you have heard what he said, that the NDDC was a resource-based development commission, just like the water, the other one he mentioned, and for us to have geopolitical development, that is important to also include South-South, and particularly in the South-South, Crossriver said he's not really getting anything from the NDDC, and the other two regions are also involved. The Southwest is there, producing oil from Ondo. Imo State is there, the Abia State, and all that. So this geopolitical zonal developmental agency is also important for the South-South region, whatever it is, because even the problems they have cannot be solved by even 10 commissions. So what is your opinion? Are you in support? Dr. Kyla,
Sir.
Your mic.
Thank you, Mr. President. In supporting the motion, I think what I wanted to say, I was raising up my hand, Senator Dixon. I've already made justice to things I wanted to say because NDDC is oil-based, but all the other commissions are developmental-based. So there is no way that the Senate or anybody in this Senate will ask South-South not to have South-South Development Commission. I urge my colleagues, because of the nature of South-South, if you go to South-South, you cry. If you go to the part of South-South where this oil is being drilled, these people have no water to drink. They have nowhere to cultivate food to eat. So they should be number one in having the developmental commission, because this commission is developmentally based, not oil based, because there are two different things we are doing. We have the hyperbed in Niger and they're operating, and the other developmental commissions are there. So, Mr. President, I urge my colleagues to support this beautiful bill for the golden eggs, a golden hen that lay the eggs for our nation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Between the NDDC and the South-South Development Commission. So I want to start by following on from what Senator Dixon said about OMPADEC and noting that OMPADEC was to look at the oil and mineral producing areas. NDDC follows on from that, looking at Niger Delta states. And I want to say that if you go to the NDDC Act, the functions and powers of the Commission under Part 2 consistently talk of Niger Delta areas, not Niger Delta states, not South-South states. And so where the resources from NDDC are shared to the Niger Delta areas based on quantum of oil produced, the states administer these resources as functional areas. What is left out, sir, is that there are some states that are members of NDDC that have only 1 or 2 local government areas that produce oil. And in the practical interpretation of the NDDC Act, those local governments are the ones to receive the concentration of benefit when NDDC resources are shared to that state. So as you can imagine, the debate for sharing of resources for a state where only 2 local governments produce oil, the focus of development goes to the oil-producing local governments. And therefore, those other local governments, even though they are part of South-South states, receive little or no benefit from being members of the NDDC. And that, sir, I believe is a fundamental argument for the need for a South-South Development Commission. Thank you, sir.
Dismissed Senator Akopundu.